We're sisters, best friends, and authors on a mission to help you stoke your creative fire and live the life of your dreams. We believe that purpose fuels passion and that creativity is your secret weapon for mass construction. There's never been a better time to bless the world with your dream realized. You're listening to The Kate and Abby Show.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of The Kate and Abby Show. We're thrilled to have you here. Welcome. This is the first episode of the show that we have filmed and recorded, rather, if you're listening to this, most likely, since the global outbreak of COVID-19, which has just been so much devastation and so much devastating news and so much suffering and hurt for people all around the world. And it's been weighing really heavy on our minds. We've been thinking of you guys, praying for you guys, and we're here with you guys. We're all in this together. I think that's really important to remember, even when things feel really bleak and dark. But yeah, the last couple of episodes we had pre-recorded several weeks ago. So here we are in April, starting to film once again. So I'm here, Kate, and Abby is here as well. And we're here to hopefully bring a little bit of light to your day, or at least an opportunity to relax and kind of let go of the burden of the day thus far. Have a little pause, have a little break. Today we're covering the topic of why it's important to keep creating in times like this. So we're really going to dive into this issue because I think our lives are changed right now. There's no denying that at all, regardless of who you are or where you are. I think the way the world is operating right now and what you see when you walk outside or look out your window. Don't go outside, stay home. But the world is very different right now, and it's heartbreaking to see.
Yeah.
But we're all experiencing that, and we're all working our way through the best we know how in whatever ways we are able to.
Right.
And today, I think we just delve into, as creatives, how can we help ourselves process everything that's happening through the act of being creative?
Yeah, exactly.
And is it frivolous to be creative in these times? Because I think that's something that sometimes it's hard to look at the suffering and the pain, the death and the destruction that's happening right now. And it absolutely helps you reassess what's actually important. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah. And like how when things get crazy and it seems like the whole world is turned upside down, the things that are left behind are really the things that matter. And what remains even when your whole life is shaken up and things are crazy and you don't really, it's just different than it's ever been. And that's why the word unprecedented has been used for this so often, is because we don't really know how to respond because it's so out of the ordinary. And I think that just looking around and seeing what is it in your life that remains even when it seems like everything else is going crazy, what are the things that are left behind, because those are the things that really truly matter. Well, if you're healthy and you are safe right now, I'm so happy for you. We're both happy for you, and waking up this morning and going about your day and experiencing your life, even if it is greatly minimized right now, is an incredible thing. And those are the things that I just feel like I've been really reconnected with over the past few weeks, is like when all those other things, when all the stimulation, all the stuff that we normally occupy our time with, when all of that is like turned down to zero, it's like, wait, it's not like everything's gone. There's still certain things remain, and those things are like the things that really matter, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it can be easy to be caught up in kind of the constructs of modern society and all the stimulation that comes with it, that we can lose sight of what's actually important. So right now we're in a time where a lot, like you were saying, so much of that stimulation has been completely taken away. And so now we can use our creativity, I think, as a tool, not so much to reconstruct the path as it was, but to rebuild a different sort of path going forward. And by that I mean embracing the fact that things are stressful right now. They are different right now. Things are strange and new, and we are piecing things together, both globally, as you see every day, and as individuals. And I think that our creativity as artists of life, as creative beings, we can use our creative energy to be like, not necessarily waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel, always keeping that in mind, of course, but how can we be a light today to even one person?
Yeah, even yourself.
Even yourself.
Your own life.
Even yourself.
Creating your own light in the darkness, I think is...
And I think that, I think both of us as writers, but I think of your book that came out last year, 100 Days of Sunlight, really talks a lot about that, being a light in someone's life, and how when you wrote that book, you were thinking about the fact that it could positively impact someone who needed to have something to cause them to hope or feel joy.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely a big part of the motivation, and that's what I always talk about on my channel, is like, you have to have that, not really theme, but like I always call it the story truth. You have to have the story truth, and that is really what propels you forward and gets you excited and passionate about. That's what gets me excited and passionate about telling stories, is that I want to share this truth that I see with somebody else that could lift them up and help them and inspire them and maybe show them something new about themselves, about the world, about life in general. So, yeah, that kind of is leading us into talking about books specifically, writers specifically, and if you're a writer out there, staying home, now is a really good time to work on some writing projects.
Yeah. And like when we're talking about all the stimulation being turned down, and now a lot of us are home, except for people who are essentially working or who are essential at their jobs, and of course healthcare workers, which we just send so many good vibes and blessings your way. If you're a healthcare worker listening to this, we just take our hats off to you and thank you. We could not be more grateful for all that you are doing. But if you're home and you have time on your hands, let's be careful with how we spend it. Let's not get sucked down the YouTube rabbit hole or the Netflix rabbit hole or some other equally unproductive path. Not that I'm saying don't watch any television. I have certainly been enjoying a new Masterpiece series. But that aside, we can choose to pursue something that perhaps we've been always wanting to pursue. And for a lot of you guys, a lot of you who watch Abby's videos, who watch my videos, who listen to this podcast, are creatives. And a lot of you guys have been wanting to start a book or write a story of any kind. Abby and I were discussing earlier that the message we want to put out to you today isn't even so much a message as it is a challenge to use this time of being home to write your story, to start your story, and to use it to make the world a little bit brighter and just maybe even if it just touches one person, even if it just touches you by the act of writing it, let's create a little bit of positive energy when there is so much darkness and negative energy right now because of the suffering in the world. If we could do one thing to help create some positive energy, let's do that. And we firmly believe that starting your story is something that you were meant to do.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like kind of like what I was saying earlier about like when everything gets shaken up and thrown out of order and you don't really know what the heck is going on and everything's just different and weird. It kind of in a way, a weirdly still way kind of reconnects you to your art, I think. Because at least I was thinking about that a little while ago, a few weeks ago, is like, and I know we're going to like talk about this in future episodes too, but like when there's less expectations on you as a creative, because maybe people aren't asking as much of you because everybody's distracted right now, it's this interesting feeling of like, well, what if, if all of this can go away tomorrow, and if all of the expectations can be lifted, how do I feel about my art now? How do I feel about my writing now when I don't have like these hard goals and plans and expectations, even expectations that you put on yourself? Like I was thinking about that, and I think we're going to talk about this. I was going to talk about it in the next episode, but I'm going to touch on it here because it just came into my mind, is like making plans, basically, making long-term plans for yourself and your writing and putting expectations and deadlines on yourself for your writing is really, it's a fine thing to do, but if you don't have to, like I've been seeing in myself anyway, just taking those expectations off is so freeing. And it's also just the most obvious thing to do because you cannot really plan the future completely. Like this, just everything that's been happening has kind of taught me that in a very sudden way of like, you can make all the plans you want and you can decide what you're going to do as much as you want. But if something happens, it's like that life is not certain, basically is what I'm trying to say. It's not a certain thing. You can't necessarily like just plan out, be like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this done by this time, and boom, that's it. No, well, other things could happen and things could get in the way and your plans could get messed up or deleted completely. And how do you cope with that? And how I personally have found myself coping with plans being changed is looking more towards, at the end of the day, why does my art even matter to me? Why does my writing matter to me? And really introspecting on that. And that's given me a lot of creativity, which sounds weird and almost like ironic in not even in a good way. But I mean it in like the most pure way possible. Is that it's just like this weird sense of creativity when the expectations and the plans and the paths are just taken away.
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so many of us have certain expectations that we place on our art, whether it's something we're trying to achieve or something we believe it should do. Mm-hmm. And what does it become if we don't expect anything from it at all?
Right.
Like I loved what you posted recently. That was, what would you write? How did it go? If it wasn't perfect?
Yeah. What's the book that you would write if you didn't have to write it perfectly? I think was
yeah. And then you said, okay, cool, go write that.
Go write that one. Yeah.
To me, I've been rediscovering that writing for me is a very healing practice. And so it's not just something that it's like, oh, I want to write this book, so I'm going to productively write it. It's more like it's a practice. It's something you can do that is a healing practice, like journaling is, like yoga is, like going for a walk in the fresh air or doing something else. There is a spirituality to it, and take that however you want to. There is something healing in the act of writing your story. And
I agree.
secondly, the note I wrote just now is that when times are all over the place, when things are all over the place and stuff is really uncertain, it can really have this feeling of you're not grounded at all. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what's going to happen next, and things feel that's really the feeling of chaos. The feeling of chaos is there's all these things happening. I have no control over any of it, and that can be fear-inducing. And for me, writing is number one, healing is number two, something that is stable. Writing can become the horizon that you look at when you're out on the stormy ocean. You can find that horizon, find that point of focus, and you can find some comfort there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And so I think that during dark times, you see throughout history that people have used the power of words to not only shed light, but to also create something for themselves, something that will become much bigger than itself, something that could become something to another person. I think of like Harriet Beecher Stowe writing Uncle Tom's Cabin. I think of Anne Frank writing The Diary of a Young Girl. And there are so many others that are books that were written during really hard times, during eras that were steeped in suffering. Things that became something that other people found light and comfort in.
And I think another cool thing that's worth mentioning here is that when there is this chaos and disaster happening around you, it almost connects you more to what really matters to you. And I feel like the things that are important to you burn on your heart more so during times like this than other times when like everything is chill and okay, and there's no urgency really to anything, and you feel those things are still important to you, but they don't like show up as vividly and as powerfully as in times of uncertainty and chaos. And like those two books that you mentioned just now made me think that too, that they are both about things that matter so much, like such important topics and issues. And that's what I always talk about on the channel, is like writing this, why does it matter to you? It has to matter to you as well as matter to your characters and matter to the world. It can't just matter to your characters in the world. It has to matter to you as well. And so I think this is a great time to ask yourself, why does it matter to me? What matters to me? And maybe start from there as like a starting point for going forward into your story. And even if you were originally going to write a story about something else, even if you're still going to write it about something else, maybe find new energy in the emotions and the issues burning on your heart right now. What's important to you right now? What is moving you right now? What is maybe making you angry or upset right now? Because those things are the things that are important to you, and maybe find a way to incorporate those into your story and get your emotions out in a way that's constructive and proactive and healing, like you're saying.
Right.
Rather than just basking in emotions and maybe letting them become a vicious cycle of overthinking or something like that. I find that it's a great release to write because it gets those emotions out of you in a way that is constructive and maybe helpful for somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that if you're on the fence and you're like, oh, I've always wanted to write this, but I'm not a writer, or I'm not qualified, or I don't feel necessarily up to the challenge of starting my book now, or whatever your excuse is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even need to be a book. Just begin. Just begin. Just begin and see what happens. See what happens. Don't look at it as a story that needs to be fit for publishing. Don't think of it as something that, everyone's going to read if that scares you to think of that. Think of it as a very personal practice, a personal catharsis, something that is going to feed and nourish you during this time and perhaps beyond it. And just let it be what it needs to be for you as a practice rather than a productive act. Let it be a nourishing practice. Let it be self-care. Let it be self-care. And perhaps as you begin to write it, you may begin to see, I want to share this piece of light with someone, something that's brought me light. I want to share it with someone else. And who knows, it may lift someone up in ways you can't even imagine. And I can't think of what the world could use more than light right now.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
And so that's why it's important to keep creating. It's not superfluous. It is essential during times like this that we continue to
And it's not a distraction either. I feel like some people think maybe it's just a distraction or being used as a distraction, but it's really not, because it's so integrated with who you are and what you're feeling and what you're going through right now. It is an extension of you. Your creation is an extension of you. It's part of you. And that is not a distraction. That is just the result of what is going on right now and inside of you and outside of you. And how can we take the pain and make it something beautiful in a way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that too, I've always found one of the deepest ways I can engage a problem or a doubt or a question or a worry, and to search deeper for how I'm going to move forward, what the solution is, how I'm going to work my way through something, is to write about it. That is the deepest way I can possibly engage anything. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's this really essential medium through which I can engage some of the most important questions in life. So I think we've said we've made a pretty solid case here for why, if you're thinking of writing a book, why not start now? But I think now we want to talk about the fact that this is a pretty special podcast episode because it goes beyond itself. It goes beyond just this episode that you're listening to or watching. We are actually creating a challenge called the Start Your Story Challenge. Start your story.
They're going to do like a little drum roll on the table.
Start Your Story Challenge. Hashtag Start Your Story Challenge.
Start your story. Dang it.
And
what are you waiting for?
Use the hashtag on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and wherever else you use hashtags. And start your story. Let's talk about what this is. It's you starting a book and sharing it with a community of other people who are starting their story right now. And if you've already started a book, you can still be part of this. If you're writing a book right now, you're in the very process of manifesting that story. So it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I started a little bit before. You can still be part of this, but I want to especially prompt those of you who are on the fence and maybe hesitant to start writing. Start writing.
I'm trying to figure out the best time to do it. That time is now.
That time is now. Let's create some positive energy. Let's create a support group for one another. And that support group is not only going to be through the hashtag so you can see what everyone sharing about their story. We want you to share every single day.
Yeah.
If you can
Every
share
single day, do something, write something, even if it's just a word, one single word. And you don't have to take a picture of it necessarily, but even bonus points if you take a picture of it or your writing space or something. And even share snippets if you are feeling adventurous.
Yeah.
And post them and use the hashtag start your story, right?
Start your story challenge.
Start your story challenge.
Start your story challenge. Hashtag start your story challenge, and we will see it.
And we're going to be doing it too.
We're going to be doing it too.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be doing it too.
I'm going to be doing it too.
Because we're both working on stuff at the moment. And so we're going to jump into this community with you guys and be a part of the challenge. And I'm probably going to use Instagram to post my updates.
And then we also have something else. We have a Facebook support group. So a Facebook group, I've been seeing like so many people doing things in Facebook groups now. And I'm like, dang, I love the sense of community that can come in that. So if you're on Facebook, you can join this group. Me and Abby will be personally posting in the group every single day, checking in with you guys to see how you are. And we would love for you to check in to the group every single day. And like Abby said, share a snippet, share a picture of your writing space, share a picture of your laptop or the tea you're drinking while you're writing, and just check in with everyone. And we want this to be just a fun little cocoon of writers hanging out together while social distancing. This can be a time where so many people feel so isolated. Maybe you're used to going out and writing in a coffee shop or writing with a group or just being able to, talk to a friend about writing. And now all of that's kind of been taken away. Thanks to technology, we can all still have that support group. Yeah. We can all begin our books. And not only will you be beginning your story, so many people will be beginning their story with you. And we want to create an environment where we can all support each other and all be checking in with each other every day, cheering each other on, wishing each other to, stay healthy, to stay strong, to keep going, to keep discovering that process of healing in our own way as we work our way through these times that are really stressful and hard to navigate. Sometimes I think it can be so helpful to have someone there to cheer you on, especially on the days when you just feel stuck and you don't really know necessarily where you're going next.
And when you don't want to show up.
Yeah,
I think it's so good to see other people showing up. It just makes you want to show up, and it makes you want to get some words written, even if you were like, I'm not really feeling it today. I guarantee when you go on this group and you look at this hashtag and you see these other people just going after it, you're going to want to do that too. Right. And it's going to motivate you and motivate other people. We're all going to motivate each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Just like this group of incredibly high vibes.
High
That's
energy. What we're going for.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So, yeah, do you want to share the link now or wait in suspense?
No, let's share the link a few times so that you guys can easily find it. It's facebook.com/group/start your story challenge. facebook.com/groups/start your story challenge. So go to the group, click join. We'll approve you. You'll be in the group and you'll be able to share with us what you're working on, not just with us, but with all the other writers who are starting their stories too. And I want to really reiterate, it does not have to be a book. It can be a screenplay.
Yeah.
It can be a play. It can be a short story. It could be just a piece of writing on a napkin. Really, seriously, it can be anything. Just start your story and start creating something for yourself. Start creating something.
Yeah.
This is all about creating light when I think we're in just such a time when the world needs it most. So we want this to be a group that's really positive, uplifting for you guys.
Yeah. I was just thinking that this quote came to my head. I've seen it all over the place. I don't even know who said it, but there's some quote that goes something like, only when it's darkest do the stars shine. And that kind of reminds me of like the time that we're going through right now and how it seems like everything's really dark and it's a very dark time. And I think that this is an important time to let our light shine. And even if it's just like we're saying, even if it's just you in your home writing your story, that's going to spark creativity for you. It's going to spark joy for you, and it's going to light up your home and help the other people around you right now, your family, whoever you're sharing your home with, and help everybody to come together in love and unity and joy again, and rediscovering that.
Yeah.
Is important. We can't live without that. So we can't wait till the end of the quarantine to get that back in our lives.
Yeah.
We need that to sustain us through it. And especially through the dark times. Like we need the love and joy and community and inspiration to keep us going, I think.
Yeah. Get someone you're in quarantine with to write with you. I've got my person.
I got my person. But even if you don't have anybody, you can find your people on the Facebook group.
Yeah, you can find your people on the Facebook group. I just love the idea of us all sharing our, not, you don't have to share your writing if you're like, oh, that's, sacred. I totally understand that. I mean, like just sharing your experience, checking in every day, and like just let's create this, just the word cocoon keeps coming to my mind because I keep thinking of just like, let's create some good positive vibes. Let's create something that could be a bright patch in our day-to-day lives right now.
Yeah.
And let's write something cool. Let's write something that will bless the world. Let's write something that can help others. And let's be inspired by some of the incredible, kind, helping acts that have come forth even in this time of great despair. You've seen so many doctors and nurses and healthcare workers and so many people coming forward and doing so much. And if that's not inspiring, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Because it's absolutely just such an incredible example of the good that exists in the world.
Yeah.
And the opportunity we have to highlight that and make more of it. So even when things are really, really hard, we can still highlight that. We can still make more of that. We can still show up and say, I'm going to create some good energy today. And that's something that people feel. People feel your vibration. People feel the energy you put out into the world.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Facebook.com/groups/start-your-story-challenge.
yeah.
Go there.
Go there.
Ask to join the group. You're going to get in. There's no secret password. There's no secret knock.
No secret knock.
You just click join. We'll let you in.
Yeah.
And then you'll be doing the challenge with us too, and with all the other fabulous writers in the group.
Yeah. We're inspiring each other every day.
Hanging out. Every day.
Every day.
Not just like some once a week thing like this.
Yeah, once a week. So this was, we were debating.
Not that once a week is bad. Once a week is plenty for listening to us talk for
plenty
40 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
That's intense, man. We need to give you a week of recovery from that.
Yep. For sure. Plenty of time spent sitting in these super comfy wooden chairs.
God, yeah. These chairs, they're not comfy.
Abby picked out these chairs.
You picked them out. And you're like, don't worry, Abby, they're comfortable. And I'm like,
I find them very comfortable. But see, Abby is more accustomed to very like plushy chairs, I find.
That feels like an underhanded dig.
No, it's
you like
totally,
sitting on the floor.
She's like,
I
really
we need to all
enjoy
sit on the
sitting.
floor.
It's what?
You're trying to convince me to sit on the floor.
I watched this great video on YouTube. It was by I think the channel's called Thoughtworthy Co. They did a video about health benefits of sitting on the floor, and I was like, wow.
No, she's trying to convince her whole family to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced yet. I need some more time.
I
need some more convincing.
I'm working on her, guys. And,
For now, I will stick to my plush chair. My plushy swivel chair. It's very nice.
It is very nice.
Plushy and
even though
pink.
even though I enjoy sitting on the floor, I can also appreciate other methods of sitting. All right, so enough shenanigans from us, though. Tell us what you think below about this idea. If you're going to take part, if you're on the fence about, do I want to write a story? Do I not want to write a story? And can we convince you to join us? If you are listening to this, shoot us an email or head over to my YouTube channel and comment on the video. You'll see it on the channel. And above all, go to the link, facebook.com/group/startyourstorychallenge and join us. Let's do this thing, you know. I think everyone needs it. Everyone needs a little bit of creativity. And, you know, just being creative is just such a good, healthy thing. And we were, like, debating what episode, because we had 2 episode ideas tossed around today. One was going to be about, like, nourishment during this time for yourself, self-care, which stay tuned for that next week, because that's what we'll be talking about, and that's going to be really fun. But we felt like this was just something we really wanted to start. We wanted to get this going so we could build this community, have this community, and start encouraging each other, because I think it's just urgent right now.
Yeah.
It's urgently needed. So we extend this invite to you guys in a nice little, like, medieval scroll tied with a piece of twine, delivered to you by a falcon who lands and puts it in your lap. You unroll it, and it says you are formally invited to join at facebook.com/groups/startyourstorychallenge. I'm going to stop talking now, because you guys are going to be like, I get it.
Yeah, just go do it.
I liked the imagery, though. I thought that imagery
that was good imagery. I like it.
Right?
Especially the falcon. That's very specific.
It's very specific for a very specific thing.
Yeah. It's actually kind of interesting, because I kind of on the fence myself, and we've been talking about this lately.
Yeah.
Is like I've been turning around some story ideas, some plot bunnies. Actually, it's way beyond a plot bunny now. It's a full-blown outline.
If it's a plot bunny, it's a plot bunny the size of, like, Godzilla swinging off a building, swinging off a skyscraper.
It is a giant plot bunny. It's like a 12,000 word outline now. And I was like, I'm not going to write another book until this summer. And I'm that person who is like, I'm going to make plans, and there are certain plans that are certainly going to happen, because life is certain. And this has really taught me that life is not certain. You can't plan everything, and sometimes just stuff happens and you have to just go beyond it. But it can also kind of turn the tables in a productive way, in a constructive way, if you choose to look at it from the right angle. And so I started to look at it from the angle of, maybe now's a good time to write something new. Maybe I should just do it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just do it. So I'm thinking about just doing it, and it might just be the story that I go with for this challenge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think it will be,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I still
stoked.
have more outlining to do, because you guys know how much I'm
like
obsessed with
Abby
outlining.
describes the importance of not planning everything, because you can't plan everything. Also, Abby plans everything anyway.
My stories, well, that's one thing that you can control. Right. You can outline your stories.
For the most part. Till your characters overthrow everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We hope that you will join us in this challenge. We hope to see you inside the Facebook group, also using the hashtag StartYourStoryChallenge on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those things. We'll keep an eye out for them. And we'll be doing this with you guys. This isn't just something that we're like, oh, you know, you should do it. We're doing it too. And we would love for you guys to join us and just all have a fun time writing, even through this time of quarantine and so much suffering. To be able to create something that might give someone joy is an encouraging thought that can bring a lot of healing to both you and the person who will read it, not to mention the people who will be really encouraged seeing you write, and it will give them sort of subconscious permission to do the same when they see you in the Facebook group and they see your hashtag and they see, you know, hey, in this time when so many people feel so alone and so isolated, I'm not alone. We're here with you. Me and Abby are here with you. And there's so many people who are right there with you, ready to start their story too. And you know what? Your story matters as a person, as a human being. Your story matters in every sense of the word. And if you take nothing else away from this episode, please take that away. So we wish you lots of health and lots of safety during this time, guys. Please comment below and let us know how you're doing. Send us a message and let us know how you're doing. We hope to see you inside the challenge one last time, facebook.com/group/startyourstorychallenge. We hope to see you there. If you'd like to support the podcast, the best way to do that is on our respective Patreons. Mine is patreon.com/kemmons, and you can find Abby's at
patreon.com/Abby Emmons.
And you can support us there, as well as, of course, buying a copy of one of our books is always a great way to support as well. I'm the author of a series called The Blood Race. You can find all 3 of my books on my website, kemmons.com. Abby released her debut novel, 100 Days of Sunlight, last year, and you can find that
I almost didn't even know my website link. What? I have several websites. AbbyEmmons.com is my blog, and Abby Emmons Author is my website where you can directly buy the book. And it's on Amazon. It's on all the places. And shameless plug, it's a really good book for this time that we're going through because it's very uplifting and sunshiny, and so many people have been messaging me lately saying that it's been cheering them up so much to read it, and it's literal sunshine.
It's such a motivational, it's an inspiring book. It's like the sun breaking through the clouds. It is a really beautiful story. And while we're on the topic of shameless plugs, I do have a book coming out in a few days, like three or 4 days or something like that.
Tuesday. It's going to be...
Okay, Tuesday.
So I guess it's going to be tomorrow when this is posted.
Before we even post the next episode of the podcast, my book will be out. So if you want to go check that out at some point, it's called Anomaly, and it's the prequel to my whole trilogy. So check that out if you feel in the mood. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for being here, so much for watching. Have an awesome week. Stay stoked.
Rock on.